Stop what you're doing right now and check out my picks for this video in the description section below. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. My name is Brock Page, and I don't know anything about sports handicapping. I'm also still doing random sports picks for fun, and you might be surprised as to who I'm picking in the NBA today. Once again, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. And with that said, let's get into some picks for Wednesday, April 19th. Let's go ahead and start in the East. I'm talking about Atlanta at Washington. The betting opened up with Washington as the 6-point favorites and the total at 212. Since then, the Wizards are now minus 5.5 against the spread, with the total moving downward to a cool 210.5. Currently, the Wizards are laying 225 on the money line, and at the moment, 58% of the bettors think Washington will get the job done. Speaking of the Wizards, they've been excellent against the number as of late, covering in their last 3 straight. They also cover an impressive 71% of their games versus teams around 500. On a side note, 2 out of both teams' last 4 games have gone over the total. All that said, I'm ready to make my pick as I think the Wizards minus 5.5 will get the job done at home. When it comes to the total points, I think this one goes over 210.5. And when it comes to the money line cash, I think the Wizards win it. Next game, over in the West, OKC plus 7.5 at Houston with the total at 224. Currently, the Rockets are laying 350 on the money line, and at the moment, 58% of the bettors think OKC will get the job done. Speaking of the Thunder, they've been a good covering team most of the year, but have failed to cover in their last 2 straight. In addition to that, OKC's failed to cover in 4 out of 5 matchups head-to-head with Houston. On a side note, OKC's last 4 games have all gone under the total points. On the other side, 2 out of Houston's last 3 games have gone under the line themselves. All that said, I'm ready to make my pick as I think Houston minus 7.5 will get the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I think this one stays under 224. And when it comes to the money line cash, I think Houston wins it at home. Next and final game for the show, we're going to stay in the West. I'm talking about Portland plus 15 at Golden State. Total points move slightly downward to 220.5 thus far. Currently, Golden State's laying 2,500 on the money line. And at the moment, 71% of the bettors think Portland will get the job done against the spread. Speaking of the Trailblazers, they've done a fine job against the number as of late, covering 3 of their last 4. They're also 3-2 against the spread when facing Golden State, and they also cover a solid 67% of their games at the current point spread. They're facing a Warriors team who's failed to cover in 2 of their last 3. 2 out of Golden State's last 3 games have also gone under the total points. All that said, I'm ready to make my pick as I think Portland at plus 15 will get the job done. When it comes to the total points, I think this one stays under 220.5. And when it comes to the money line cash, I think Golden State wins it. Well, folks, that is going to do it for me. Once again, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page, predictions and sports picks, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.